everybody. How's it going? This is Heather Box from the Million Person Project. What's up? I'm so excited to be here today with my friend and colleague, Rodney Lopez. So say hi to everybody, Rodney.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon or good morning. Maybe it's afternoon here in New York, but I believe it's morning where you are, Heather. But hello, good day, and good morning to everybody.
Yeah, good morning to you. And so Rodney is a friend of mine. We're also in the same entrepreneur, network, which is Move the Crowd, which has helped me build the Million Person Project up into the company that it is with my amazing coaches, Raw Goddess and J Love, who are also Rodney's coaches. So why I'm having Rodney here today is because Rodney is this incredible financial abundance coach, and he has a real philosophy on how to create wealth and abundance in your life. And so I wanted him to come on here and share with all of you about what it is that he does and give you some tools to get started doing this in your own life. Because this is like powerful, like, I'm not going to say magic because I don't think you would consider it magic, but magical and amazing thinking. And so I would love for you to start off by just sharing, financial abundance coach, like what does this mean and how have these practices that you teach, how have they impacted you in your life?
Well, I appreciate the question, Heather, and thanks for inviting me to join you on this conversation on your live Facebook. For me, abundance in the space of finances is really about your spiritual and emotional relationship to your finances. And I think that so often the vast majority of approaches to financial, so let's say to personal finance, right? All of the books that you'll see in a bookstore shelf or on a library shelf or in a Google search, there's so much great financial advice out there. In fact, in my experiences, there's actually too much. You can get really overwhelmed with all of the different approaches to how to experience financial health. But from my personal experience, what I found is that it all starts with your spiritual and emotional alignment with your money. And for me, there's a very important key and there's a very important aspect that is often overlooked when people think about their finances. And it starts, for me, with generosity. It starts with giving. It starts with looking at your finances and your financial health through the lens not of what can I take or what don't I have or what do I have to give up, but more what do I have to give? Mm-hmm. And when I started to look at my financial life through that lens, my financial life changed. Magically, if you will, abundantly, if you will. Counterintuitively, my relationship to my money changed when I was able to look at it through the lens of giving and not simply what don't I have. And I think that that's a real key.
Yeah. And how do you do that? So I hear this a lot in the world, like generosity, give to give, don't give to get. Like, you hear all of these sayings around generosity.
That's right.
But when it comes down to it, how do you let go of the transactional mindset?
Well, you're right. There is a lot of conversation now, and I've noticed it even more recently. I have seen more and more conversations about generosity and giving, which I actually think is a wonderful thing. That means that something in the super consciousness of the world is awakening, which is wonderful. But I speak about it and I think about it very concretely. There are two ways that we express what we value in the world, and this is old thinking: your time and your money. If you show me your calendar and you show me your checkbook, I know what you value. That's not necessarily related to what we say we value, right? Where we put our time and where we put our money is an expression of what we truly value. And so when I think about giving, you can't erase the transactional nature of giving. There is a transactional nature on one level. If you choose to part with some of your income, with some of your money, there is a transaction that's involved. However, when I talk about giving, I'm talking about it as a practice, as a giving practice. People have different spiritual practices in their life. Some people commit to praying. Some people commit to meditation. Some people commit to yoga. Some people commit to health and wellness and running or food or diet. And all of those things are important. But I'm really talking about a giving practice. We prioritize our giving when we're looking at our monthly finances. There's a power in that. There's a power in prioritization. There's a power in making choices that says, I'm going to do something with this percentage of what I earn or make or inherit. And that begins to move certain things spiritually in your universe and in the larger universe. It's a very concrete thing.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk to a specific. Well, how about you just coach me?
Okay, sure. Happy to.
So here's my situation. That really hit home for me that, like, if you look at somebody's calendar and you look at their checkbook, you'll see what their priorities are. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I feel that is in my life is a real sense of scarcity around time. Like I woke up this morning and it's like, oh my God, like I don't have enough time. This is a story I'm telling myself to do all of the things that I have committed to today.
Right.
Without like not showing up fully somewhere.
Sure.
And so I feel like, and the same goes in my finances, where I feel like, I make really good money. I've built a great business, but I give a lot of money to different, people in the world, but I often feel like, God, like I don't actually have enough money to be doing everything I'm doing. It's like a very continent. I don't have enough time to be doing what I'm doing.
Right.
I can't be living like with this attitude, which is just like, it will all come, it will work out. Like I need more rigor or something is the story that I tell myself. But really, how do you address like that fundamental sort of scarcity mindset? Even when you're like sort of taking the actions of generosity, you're not like spiritually free feeling towards it. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And that's a wonderful question. And you are expressing, I think, the core challenges that we have, particularly, I would say, even in the entrepreneurial space, right? Like people who are successful, people who may have disposable income and want to see the fruits of their labor go towards causes outside of themselves. We can still get stuck in a scarcity mindset. My approach in the work that I do, which is called the generosity and abundance process, or the GAP for short, starts with actually two very important processes or activities before you even give $1 to anything. And you're going to appreciate this as a storytelling expert and the importance of story. The first thing that you have to do, the first part of the generosity and abundance process, is naming and claiming your money story. The very first thing that I ask people to do who are working with me, which is get a handle on what drives you in this area, because we all have a story in relationship to our money, for the good and for the bad, for the positive and for the negative. And so until we can get our arms around what that is, then we don't know what are the unseen levers that are causing us to make certain choices about what we prioritize. And it can be something as simple as how we approach, let's say, the holidays, right? Whenever that Christmas time comes around, whenever that holiday time comes around, people start to stress out, myself included. We stress out about, what are we giving to people? We're running to stores, at 11 o'clock on Christmas Eve. And it's like, but why are we doing that? What are the things that we're thinking? Do we think we're going to be less than because we don't show up with a certain gift in a certain way at a certain price point?
Right.
What are the things that are causing those unseen and hidden value judgments in our lives? So anything that I would advise somebody who's really thinking about this is, well, have you done that work?
Right.
You have to do that level of work, and that's not for the that's not always quick.
Right.
That's not always easy, but it's absolutely necessary if you want sustainable change in this area.
Right. And so the thing, for example, that is driving my mindset when I think about that is just like, I'm going to let people down. Like, that's what when I think about my day, that's what I think. Like, I'm going to let people down. Like, my priorities are going to get in the way of somebody else's joy or connection. Like, it's my dad's birthday tonight. So I'm like, like, if I don't rush and get crazy, I can't be present at dinner, like not at dinner, but like before when we meet up, like I'm going to push into that time. And so this story I'm telling myself is like, and same with money, is just like, I'm giving to get, I mean, I'm like, great, check off the box, like gave that person money, like boom, boom. I'm not like, oh, this is coming from my spirit. It's like, it's the story that I haven't fully healed is that, like, I'm an amazing steward, present, courageous leader with my money and my time.
Absolutely.
If I was like, I'm a worthy, confident, courageous leader who knows how to spend my time and money in ways that create abundance in my own life and others, that is a much better story than I'm stressed for time and money, but I gotta pedal quick to stay ahead.
That's right. And because you have spent so much of your time as a professional and as a human being, helping yourself and others engage in the deep work of story and the power of story in your life, you have a real skill and knack for sort of lasering in to what are those things you're telling yourself that are blocking you from abundance in a particular area, whether it is how you're spending your time in a given day, how you're spending your financial resources. But there are so many of us, Heather, who are not practiced in that area, who haven't given themselves the gift of the space and the time to say, what's driving me in this area of money? And you know why? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, but I think one of the biggest areas is the way we are cultured and conditioned to not talk about money in this society, particularly in this American sort of consumerist society. We are all carrying baggage, we're carrying shame, and you don't talk about money in polite society. You don't talk about it with your friends because we're all carrying stuff.
Right.
And we're ashamed to talk about the debt maybe we're carrying, or the credit cards, or the student loans, or the mortgages, or whatever it is. We may not be keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak, and we don't have tools on how to uncover and heal some of that. And so when we can just give ourselves permission to do that, and when we have some guidance and some and some space to do some healing work around it, the actual money piece accelerates.
Right.
The healing around money accelerates when we can pay some attention to some of those deeper spiritual and emotional vibrations.
Wow, that's so interesting. Okay, so I want to hear from anybody who's on here live. Just comment, say hello. If you have any questions for Rodney about what does it take to engage in this sort of like generosity and abundance mindset and process, comment below and you can ask those questions. Here's what I want to ask you in closing. There's a two-part question. Okay. And I want to tell our audience here that, hopefully, if Rodney said yes, that Rodney could come back and teach deeper on this if this is something you all want. So just comment and let us know. But here is my question for you, Rodney. And there's a two-part question. One's about you and one's about the audience. So the first one is just like knowing you and knowing that, you sort of had this like background in PR and arts education and you're a dancer, right? Like how did you get to become a financial expert in the way that you are? Mm-hmm. And then the second question is like, what is this first step that someone watching today can do to like start engaging in this mindset? Like you made this big transition in your life. What's the step someone can do today, Thursday, to take a step towards this?
So the first part of the question is I have, in terms of just my personal story, and I'll tell it in the briefest way possible, is that I've been blessed to have a career that's a lot of fun. And I started in the area of public relations and marketing, working with some amazing clients and working with some amazing brands. But what I found is that over time, while I was intellectually stimulated, my soul wasn't being fed. And I had this emerging interest in dance, in social dance, particularly salsa dancing. And so I am a 20-year veteran of the salsa dance scene, and I just found my way into that scene and was able to create a career around that, both as a dancer and as an arts educator. I eventually became an administrator with an organization called Dancing Classrooms, and we bring social dance into public schools all over the country. Wow. And so I've been really blessed and lucky and fortunate to be successful in areas of service. I've always felt called to areas of service, whether it is in the marketing work I've done or the arts education work I've done. Sometimes those choices, Heather, come with a cost. And for me, it came with the cost of significantly reduced income. When I chose a career in the arts, I chose to leave what was a lucrative and upwardly mobile, so to speak, career for the life of an artist. And at the time, while I was personally fulfilled, I was financially not in the place where I was. I had started a family. I had debt that had come back to rear its ugly head in the form of student loans and credit cards and tax debt. And I was in a very down place financially. And it wasn't until I was challenged in a faith community that I was a part of in the area of giving. There was a challenge that was made to the faith community that I was a part of that said, look, if you want financial peace, you have to start by giving. And all of my antenna went up. I thought it was a scam. I thought it was a way to sort of get into my wallet. And what I learned is that and that was the challenge. Try it for 6 months. Try adopting a giving practice for 6 months and see if your life isn't changed. And when I did that, my life was changed. My life was changed. Not overnight, but over time. My relationship to money changed as I was able to get detached from my sense of scarcity around it. That my life was not coming from my money. My livelihood was, but not my life. And there's a difference. And so it was those early and then subsequent forays into the both the science and spirituality of generosity that inform the work that I'm doing now. To answer the second question, in a very concrete way, the first thing that somebody can do today to begin to get at this is to get a pen and a piece of paper. Don't do it on your phone. I know you techies you're not gonna like this, but get a pen, get a paper, get a notepad, and write down your money story. Write it down. There is a powerful relationship that happens when you do pen to paper. Science has taught us that the act of writing, not the act of typing, the act of writing does something kinesthetically to the brain that impacts the way you're thinking. So write on your pad. Answer some of these questions. What has gone right for me in my life around money? What are some of my wins and successes with money? What are some of my failures? What are some of my downtimes with money? Where have I failed? Where have I let myself down or other people down, or so you think, right? What are some of the blocks? When you can write those things down, insights are going to show up for you. Patterns are going to show up for you. And maybe new paths forward are going to begin to show up for you. So that's something somebody can do today that maybe takes an hour and begins to open up some new possibility.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rodney.
Sure. My pleasure.
Echo, but can you also tell us how you can get involved in what you're doing?
I would love for anybody who's within the sound of my voice and within earshot of this video to come to my website. It's RodneyEricLopez.com, RodneyEricLopez. That's my full name, RodneyEricLopez.com. And when you go there, you're going to see sort of my introductory video. I would love for you to watch it and comment on it. And just sort of get a sense of sort of my philosophy. You'll learn about some other people who have been helped by this work. And then you'll not only learn a little bit more about my story, but you can also click and learn more about my online course, which is the Generosity and Abundance Process. I have a wonderful course online that is not just me talking about this concept, but also engaging some very smart and engaging people, experts around some of these important topics like generosity, philanthropy, giving, abundance. Ragatas, our mutual friend, is featured in this course. And so you can there's a link on there and you can go straight to that. Would love for you to put your email in there so you can get my newsletter and hear more about what I'm up to. So if you go to that website, RodneyEricLopez.com, we can be in communication and be in community together. I'd love it.
Well, thank you so much, Rodney, for being a guest here and for doing this work. I've seen the way that it has transformed you, and I'm looking forward to seeing how millions. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you so much.
All right.